Welcome to another episode of Backpass Tactics. We build backwards and transition forward because every goal begins with building from the back and passing forward. Today we'll be discussing Coach Rulani Mokwena, son of the soil Mokwena. We'll be discussing his current performances in Algeria, what my expectations and hopes for him are, and what his future might look like after this Algerian gig, and where do I see him in the long term. So as we all know, Coach Rulani is actually cooking at MC Alger. He's actually having one of his best coaching seasons. So far in the league, he's doing very, very well. He's on top of the league and he has games in hand. He's actually cooking in the Algerian league, and I hope that he wins the league because we know that MC Alger is an unforgiving team. One of the major expectations that they have for a coach is to always win the league, and they also expect the coach to actually reach the final of the CAF Champions League. So for his coaching legacy to actually improve, he needs to win the league and he has to reach the CAF Champions League final, because you know the teams in the north aren't forgiving when you don't win the league and you don't do well in the Champions League. And if Coach Rulani succeeds at MC Alger, what could his next destination be? I think if Coach Rulani succeeds at MC Alger, his next destination has to be a league like Egypt, because he's coached in South Africa, he's coached in Morocco, he's coached in Algeria. So the next possible destination would actually be Egypt. I think if he can conquer Algeria, then he deserves to go to Egypt. Once he conquers Egypt, then he can actually follow in the footsteps of Coach Pitso Mosimane and start tapping into the Gulf region, where he could coach teams such as Iran, teams such as the teams in the Iranian league, or teams in Saudi Arabia as well. And then if he does well there, he can actually go to Europe. I think Coach Rulani Mokwena is one of the South African coaches outside Bradley Cannell that actually have an opportunity to coach in Europe, because I think the only other coach who's actually coaching in Europe right now, not even in Europe, closer to Europe, would be Bradley Cannell, because he's coaching in the MLS. So we haven't seen South African coaches coaching in Europe as much. So I think Rulani Mokwena, if he plays his cards well and he does extremely well in the few adventures that he has right now, he can actually be one of the few South African coaches to actually go and coach in Europe. And I think another possible long-term coaching gig for Rulani would actually be the South African national team. Once Hugo Broos retires from coaching Bafana Bafana after the FIFA World Cup, I think Coach Rulani would actually be a great replacement. He understands how to work with the youth, and I think he would be a good coach for Bafana Bafana. And I would suggest that if Coach Rulani ends up coaching Bafana Bafana, they should make Coach Pitso Mosimane the technical director of Bafana Bafana, because I think those two actually have an excellent relationship, and Coach Pitso would actually help guide Rulani Mokwena in terms of helping the national team conquer future endeavors. And I think the MC Alger gig was very good for Rulani Mokwena. I think going to Algeria was a perfect pick for him, because at Wydad he didn't do as expected. But in my opinion, at Wydad he actually did well. It's just that he didn't get enough time to actually cook properly. So I think the move to the Algerian league was actually good for him to help him rebuild his career, to help him be cemented as one of the best coaches in Africa, because after taking the Wydad job, his reputation in a way took a dent because he didn't do as expected at Wydad. So for his case, I hope he does well in the Algerian league so that he rebuilds his career. That's it, folks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, share with family and friends. I'll be right back like Reece James, hopefully not injured and having proper vocal cords.